Hi, everybody. I am Holly Celiano, and I am doing a special report because my good friend Brad, who I've had on before, he is a big hunter of finding information and nuggets that are out there hidden in plain sight, but you do have to look for them. So I'm going to bring Brad on. Brad,
Hi, Holly.
welcome.
How you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. So I know you were all excited because you found a big nugget out there that kind of ties everything together, what we're waiting for. So I'm going to turn it over to you and let you explain what you found that's a big piece of this big puzzle.
Well, thanks. I appreciate you having me on again. Such short notice. Yeah, I mean, we're all sitting there, we want to go exchange our currency, but there's all these things that are happening, and there's major legislation going on, and we hear about it. We hear about the Genius Act, we hear about the Clarity Act, we hear about these other acts, but no one ever talks about what they really do. And like you said, I found a video, and I'm like, yeah, this is kind of pretty cool. But these puzzle pieces keep falling into place, and this is a major puzzle piece, maybe one of the biggest ones. And these kind of things that are happening now are why I think this has been taking so long. So, all right, I'll just go ahead and go into it. And thanks for having me on.
You're
Um,
welcome.
I appreciate your show. And in a sea of it's today. You make it a nice, calm. All right, it's cool. I can handle it. We're not there yet, so appreciate all that.
That's what I like to do.
Yeah. Okay.
You've
Here we
got
go.
to follow, there was the saying, follow the bouncing ball. Well, that's what this RV is, the bouncing ball. We've got to follow it wherever it's leading us. And this is what you found, another piece of that bouncing ball.
Yeah. Well, let's have less bouncing and more stopping.
I
So,
agree.
okay, here we go. So, what I wanted to talk about today is the Clarity Act. So, this is before Congress right now. It may be passed in days, it may be passed before Christmas, but it's a breakdown of one of the financial puzzle pieces of the new digital financial system that they've been building all around us for the last 6 years. It's going to bring regulatory clarity. Why is this important? We want to just exchange our currency, right? Credit for the information about to be covered today is given to Jacera for All YouTube channel. They posted a video a few days ago covering this information. Credit for the content contained in the Jacera for All video is given to Professor William Liebenberg. A single bill called the Market Structure Bill is about to change crypto forever. It's about to slash crypto manipulation by as much as 90%. It's the biggest hammer Congress has ever swung at the digital asset world. It's called the Digital Asset Market Clarity. The Trump administration said we will sign this bill by Christmas. It carries the same DNA as last year's Fit 21 Act, but is far tougher. Hold on one second, I just lost my place. It carries the same DNA as last year's Fit 21 Act, but it is far tougher on fraud and market abuse. The new law directly targets crypto manipulation, which has been happening for years, by banning wash trading. Now, I actually had to look up wash trading. Wash trading is the fake trading that has distorted prices for years. Almost 40% of Bitcoin's trading is wash trading designed to liquidate leverage traders. So if you get liquidated, that means you lose everything and somebody gets it. Wash trading is buying and selling the same stock or commodity, which XRP is, at least with legal clarity, but cryptos are considered commodities simultaneously. The practice of wash trading has been illegal in the stock market since 1936. Well, that should tell you something. If they made wash trading illegal in 1936, it must have had something to do with the crash. The CFTC, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, will now receive real-time surveillance data from exchanges. It will automatically flag accounts with 90% order cancellations, a common sign of market manipulation. Any offender caught layering ghost orders, fake orders, will be delisted within 48 hours. So there's real teeth in this. If they try front running, that becomes a felony. So this bill it's huge. I mean, it's going to bring stability to the crypto market. The SEC will still maintain a kill switch for security tokens, ensuring that markets can be shut down if abuse spreads. And don't let that scare you. It's not a bad thing. We currently have circuit breakers now to protect markets. After the Clarity Act becomes law, and it's already passed the House and it's in the Senate right now, every American facing crypto exchange will be required to register as a digital commodity exchange and submit to monthly audits. Any that refuse will face an instant ban. Even offshore manipulators will be blocked at the internet service level for American users, so we won't be able to see them. So what does this mean? It means the days of fake liquidity are numbered, and that this is the most important piece of digital asset legislation in history, and it will reshape how global markets view digital assets. So just real quick, you know, everyone has their favorite: Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, XLM, Algorand, IOTA, the meme coins. Um, if we're gonna be having our new digital payment rails and our entire banking system and all the world's payment systems and all these digital rails that they're putting up, if we're going to be using these, they can't be bouncing around and flowing around. I mean, they can do it naturally and normally, but not with the Wild West that's been happening for years. And the crypto market, especially companies like Ripple and other companies, have been begging for um, for clarity, legal clarity, and they didn't have it, and it's coming together, and it's one of these pieces that we've been waiting for the RV to happen and not known. So the market's ready. One of the takeaways is trillions, and I mean trillions of dollars, are about to pour into crypto from Wall Street and Main Street. Some say as high as $20 trillion. The next wave of institutional global adoption is here. Blockchain just isn't an idea. It's financial infrastructure that works. Fixed income's been tokenized, bonds, stable coins, all of them have already been tokenized. But what comes next? What comes next is the movement of capital flows across these new payment rails. It's actually up and running now. This is the new financial system our group's called the QFS. I take issue with QFS. I think it's just a term so that the us normies can understand what's going on. I talk to people in banking. They're using legacy computers. They're using regular computers. Maybe somewhere in some central banks they have quantum computers. I don't know. I'm not an expert on that stuff, but it's not quantum. It's just digital. It's software. It's in all the banks. It's no longer a theory. It's execution. November 5th was Ripple Swell. November 13th through 14th, the Canary Capital XRP ETF, ETF means exchange traded funds, go live. There's 19 XRP ETFs slated between now and 2020, the beginning of 2026, to go live. As you say all the time, that is huge. There's all kind of other ETFs going online. I tell my boys they're one's 30 and one's 28. Look, you're going to start seeing top 10 ETF. You're going to start seeing top 100 ETF. You're going to start seeing top 500 ETFs, like the S&P 500. I think you're going to see a top 2,000 and a top 5,000. I think the one ETF thing in a couple of years is going to sound funny, like I sent an email cross border. November 22nd, you and I talk about this all the time in our conversations. It's been 3.5 or 4 years, and I'm not exactly sure how long, but we'll be talking about this and talking about that, and it looks like it's going to happen and it doesn't, and we hear all these rumors. There's always been this November 22nd date sitting out there in charts that we've talked about, and here we are finally upon it. And I don't know what November 23rd is going to look like. I don't know if that's going to be the exact date of the RV, but the end of coexistence of the old financial system is official. The new Fed Treasury payment rails went live September 30th. They shut down the government October 1st. It's obvious they're auditing things. It's all through the news that they're auditing Snap and they may be getting rid of other things. There's a lot going on right now. Even
Can
though
I
the new funding,
can
yeah,
I
go ahead.
ask you a quick question with the end of coexistence? So, for those that don't know what that means, it's where you have the old system and the new system running side by side, coexisting together.
Mhm.
And the end of that is on November 22nd, where only one system will still be running, which is the new system, not the old system. Am I right with that? That's
Yep.
pretty much
That's
what
ex
that means.
It's exactly right. The analogy that I've made is imagine that you're living in a trailer, and while you're in the trailer, you build a house around you. So you lay the foundation, you pour the concrete, you put the walls up, you put the roof on, you put the plumbing in, you put the electrical in. I'm sorry, the trailer's outside the house, but you put the carpeting in, you put the lights in, you paint everything, and you're living in a trailer while you're building the new system. This the new computer technology that we have and the new software that we have, it's not difficult to mirror things and watch what's going on. Bricks is an entirely new financial system. Iraq went live on Bricks not January of this year, January of last year. So what they've been doing is, and you and I have talked, I got to quit saying you and I have talked about this because the audience doesn't know it. But years ago, I used to be involved in point of sale systems and in even medical devices that I was involved in. And what would happen is they work on something for years and then they beta test it. And what they have is they have a target date that they want this done by. Meanwhile, they've been working on it the whole time. And like, let's say you're a big chain like Walmart. And I'm not saying that Walmart did this, but I'm just doing it for the example. And you take 20 stores out of the Walmart stores and you're beta testing them while you're doing this, and you're having your computers cross check, hey, did our bank account end up the same at the end of the day? Is everything going along properly? Is it functioning? So they've been building this module by module every March, every November for the last 5 years. There's
Right.
been these things come online like cross-border international payment systems. BRICS went up live. There's 140 countries on that. There's 209 central banks. This is why I've hated it that it's taken until November 22nd. But this is why. Can you imagine all these countries? You have people from different religions. You have people of different nationalities. You have all the machismo and all the men from all these different countries in the bank. You have the international leaders. You have all the pressure. And if you don't get this done, you're going to have World War III over who gets to be the world's reserve currency. So you had to get all these sheep lined up. And what bankers don't change their shoes without a plan. I always say something different. So these dates have been huge. They've been important. They've been building it module by module. And yes, it's up, it's running. And then the old SWIFT system that's been around since the 40s, and the old banking system and the Rothschild banking system, the Federal Reserve, you had that in a video that you showed a week or two ago. It's all been replaced. They've been doing all this easing so that everything doesn't fall apart. I hear all this stuff about it's going to crash, it's going to crash, there's going to be an EBS. It should have crashed years ago. They've been propping it up with white gloves so that it doesn't fall apart. And I've heard numerous people, well, one person particularly who I trust, say that they run all these scenarios. The same thing as nation building after we have a war and all that, and they run the scenario, they run that scenario. And if everything would have crashed and we would have fallen apart, we would have gone to civil war. You'd have people in the streets looting. You'd have people on the tops of the buildings with their AK-47s, like in the Los Angeles riots from O.J. Simpson time, and we'd have gone to civil war, and China could have taken us over. So they've had to do this slowly and methodically over time with COVID, with all the quantitative easing, with shutting down the old government, having the new one. This has been the most amazing. I believe, I can't prove this. I have no insider information. I just watch the news. But I think they're running this on military planning software. I mean, the pace at which they're doing all this is insane. It's taken years to do it, and we're watching all these things unfold in days on TV, in the movie. So yes, November 22nd, that's it. You're not going to be sending any money, any messages on the old system. Do they have something for the stragglers? Yeah, there's probably going to be some straggler countries. I don't know exactly what they're going to do. You know, that's I've heard Mark Z talk about some of the other currencies that may go in future baskets. But for the bulk
It's
of
interesting when we start talking about this and seeing the ISO 2022, 20022 come out, and we'd see all these different markers, November and March. Do we have to wait for the next piece? No, I don't think we have to wait. And then we'd wait another year, and there's another one and another one. Well, this is the last one. And guess what? We have waited to
Yeah.
the end. So it just goes to show that this has been in planning for a very long time, and everything needs to be in place before they do the switch. Now, it's
Yeah.
also very interesting with this date and this final piece coming in. We're hearing a lot of rumbling that Iraq is ready now to come out with their new rate. So it's like everything is lining up together.
Well, I told you my thoughts on that before, and you said don't say that, so I'm not going to say what I was going to say, but I'll just generalize. They're timing it for the same time frame. We shut our government down. They did the auditing. You don't think we have auditing going on right now? What do you think Doge was? They were doing that publicly. We have auditing going on for 9 months. I know in Iraq, I'll talk about Iraq, it's public stuff. They got Oliver Wyman, they got K2 Integrity, which has Interpol ties. They have Price Waterhouse. And of course, the other ones are escaping me right now. But why is there all this auditing going on? Well, they're getting rid of the corruption. You know, just like over here with our Social Security, I don't have any proof and I don't have any names, but I'm sure there's a whole bunch of people that were 120 or 150 years old getting Social Security that if you track it down, oh, that person was a public official. Oh, that person should have been getting paid. You know, all these GOAs or NGAs, non-governmental agencies that are getting all this money. Remember when was it about a year ago? There was an office, and in that office, Nancy Pelosi and some other people were out there, and they wanted in, and they wouldn't let him in. But that was where the money was. What was that place called?
I don't know.
Oh my God, I'm on a podcast and I can't remember this detail. But that's where that was. They finally started televising and showing the place. That's where all the money goes. And of course, they're out there wanting in and not letting. So they've been tracking it down, cleaning all this stuff up so that it's my opinion, the new system actually went live. It's already been live. They're just shutting down the old one November 22nd. But they're finding out where that money's been going, clawing it back because some of it's been on the new system. I think I said this before in a previous podcast. They're shutting down the cartels. They're bombing them down there. They're closing them down in the 17 cities up here. I see it on YouTube. There's operations everywhere. But I'm going to tie this back to what we were talking about. You got the FBI involved, the DEA, you've got ICE involved, you've got sheriffs, you have police. But what they don't talk about, and I don't know how they're doing it, I don't want to act like an expert, but with this new system and the new banking system, the top two things are freeze and freeze your money if you're a bad guy. If you violate Executive Order 13818 or 13848, voting or child trafficking, human trafficking, and the other one for election fraud and voting. So they have freeze and they got clawback. They can reach in and claw back 49 transactions. So if the money's still in the banks and they haven't off-ramped it into cash, they've been clawing this money back. Iraq talks about it all the time. I believe that we're doing the same thing too. So I don't even really need to continue anymore on the slides because this is the interesting
Well,
stuff.
no, go
Okay.
ahead. I want you to finish your slides and then we'll go back to talking. So I interrupted your.
No, it's more fun to talk about this
Well,
than
no,
stuff.
but you put together the slides, so go ahead.
All right. When I come back to this, I want to come back to what we were talking about the cleaning up corruption and whatnot.
Okay.
All right, hold on. So back to sharing. So November 22nd, which we've seen and you and I have talked about, and I've showed you charts for 3 or 4 years now, is the end of coexistence. Even though the new financial system has been in beta testing and is up and running for a while now, this is the date that they shut it down forever. Each of these dates, along with the other Marches, November, we talked about this, and implementation dates, has been a new puzzle piece. This is why it's taking so long. So you and I just talked about this. There's no need to cover that one. So the takeaway, just remind yourself, geez, when you say, oh my God, this is taking so long. Oh my God, what are they doing? Oh my God. Well, all we're doing is replacing the entire world's monetary system without creating utter chaos, wrecking the world's economies all in a few short years. And because of the way information flows, now we get to benefit both from the foreign currencies and the cryptos that will become the winners. And um, it hurts. One of the things that I wanted to continue on after hitting the end of this are these are the things. You and I talk about this all the time. I never saw these trade deals coming. Boom, out of nowhere, every single trade deal with every single country all around the world. As soon as Trump got in, wrote a bunch of executive. For the people that don't like Trump, I'm sorry, but the amount of stuff that this guy's done has been absolutely incredible. And he and the military have actually saved our country and probably saved the world from World War III over the next currency. I never saw this coming. They gave them 90 days. Countries like China, and there was another one that we recently inked. I can't remember who it was. They gave them extra time. The reason for these tariffs are the amount of money that's flowing into our country and is going to be flowing into our country to replace, I believe, to replace the Internal Revenue Service is going to be incredible. We used to run on just tariffs before, and I know a lot of people know that, but a lot of people don't know that. So, in order for all these trade deals to have been renegotiated, we had to have the new financial payment rails
Mhm.
that we use all the digital tokens that used to settle in 2 weeks, 1 week, 3 days, 2 days. We're down to like T+1. We're going to be down to like T+0 really soon. I don't know exactly when that is. I don't know if it's on the 22nd or I don't know if it's out there after. The term is called instant atomic settlement. Just that alone is huge. I never saw Iran bombing their nukes. Never saw that to create stabilization in Iraq. I never saw this stuff with the cartels coming. You know, there's videos all over YouTube. For 5 years, we've been taking down cartels in Colombia. We got our entire warships parked out in front of Venezuela. You know, do you think it's done already and we're watching a movie? I don't know. I see videos of cartels being taken down. They had a massive hub in Memphis, Tennessee. Was it Memphis, Tennessee? I think it was Memphis, Tennessee, and it led them to a bunch of other ones. And I hear this 17 cities, same operations, and I see them. There's videos. They're AI generated. They have funny content for the videos, but like you hear it, and it reminds me of some of the reports that you've heard. Like this is just too deep. It's just too detailed, you know. And then you see the busts on TV. So, what are the other things that we didn't see coming? This legislation that we're talking about now, these final pieces going in right when the government's being shut down, they're passing these acts that the crypto industry has been begging for so that they can do the right things. They've been afraid to grow because they've been afraid to be sued. Isn't it amazing that this is all happening right before November 22nd? Like, I don't want to go, hello, everyone, this is the RV. I don't see anything else. Like, what else? What else needs done? I don't hear that the Russia Putin Zelensky war's over yet. That one I'm waiting for. You know, is that we know it's actually done. We know there was 34, 36 bio labs there. We're parked off of Venezuela. Are they going to go in 2 or 3 days? Oop, that's done. I don't know. Like, what else? What else is there to do? You know, it's
You
time to
know,
go.
as I say all the time, we don't know what we don't know because then when it's presented, it's like, oh, I didn't know we needed that.
Yep.
So
All right. Now
there's
listen. I'm sorry. I didn't
no,
mean
but
to.
there's, with this big Clarity Act, it's a huge piece of the crypto. Crypto is the new financial mechanism that we are evolving to. And if they don't have rules, regulations, and stringent ties on how to conduct business, it would be the wild, wild west of crypto without any rules or regulation. It would be a nightmare. So we need to have very strict rules and procedures and protocols on moving forward where it is transparent on this new blockchain because I believe that Bitcoin was released as a beta test to see how everybody reacted to it, how it did, and they learned a lot from watching that and how you can do this payment system back and forth.
Mhm.
So it's,
Well, it was all planned. Number one, it was part of a sting operation. Number two, everything that you said is true. Number three, to get to your earlier point when you started saying everything needed to be X and the things you stated about the Wild West. Look, it's about custody. You and I talked about this before. When you are in a stock mutual fund or you own stocks, and you buy like, and you're in your mutual fund and you're checking at the end of the day and you go, oh my God, my 401k is this, or I have some stocks this, and you buy them. They don't send them to your house, do they? No. So a brokerage firm pays a lot of money and has a lot of security in place, and there's rules that the Securities and Exchange Committee has, and they have to custody them. Now, am I an expert on custody? No. But that's what's been missing in crypto. Right now, you've had to have complicated wallets. You and I have helped set up people with wallets. The learning curve is hard. I have nothing to do with Caleb and Brown. I just tell them go to Caleb and Brown now because they can do everything and I don't have to spend an hour or two on the phone helping somebody get set up. But there's been no custody. With these rules, with these regulations, with the Wall Street brokerage firms, with the new click that they're going to have so that people who are sitting at home are going to be able to put their personal money, and IRAs and whatever other instruments they have into this, they're going to have institutional custody and there's going to be fees. So that's what's going to stop what you said. And that is massive. It's a huge change. People are still going to have their wallets. They're still going to own their own crypto. But with this $20 trillion that's going to roar in with institutions, I didn't even go into this. There's a ton of companies that are doing what Michael Saylor is doing from, God, I just forgot the name of this company. How stupid on the podcast. Anyhow, Michael Saylor's company holds so much Bitcoin. They have products on it. There's a lot of companies that are doing the same thing with XRP right now. And that's going to be sucking up the volume. It's there's it's become it's becoming mass adoption is the word that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Like you
It
said,
will be
stable,
mainstream. It will
mainstream,
be,
stable, regulated.
yes.
All these pieces are going into place. It's going to handle all the world's money. Um, and we've had to wait till now when everyone
Right.
has said, why is this taking so long? Why is this taking so long? Well, we had to wait till now. So I
And
do have
when
one.
does the big beautiful bill, when is that come out? Is that December as well?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know the answer to that. So I don't know. The one thing that I do want to know, and I'm not asking you this, it's just I think this to myself out loud. Are we the people that hold the currencies? When the RV goes, are we going with them? Are we get notified before? That's the kind of stuff I want. And like, are we going before this, during it, or after it? We've had to wait so long for all it, and we're going to find out soon. I have people calling me going, "What's going on? What's the latest?" I'm like, "Look, just go away, pretend you're a submarine, come up November 22nd, put your periscope up, look around, and see what the world looks like, and just ignore all the news then because." So much of it's been wrong, so many predictions that it's going to happen tomorrow. And here we have this date that's sitting out there that everything's going to be official, beta testing's done, and these acts that have passed and are passing through Congress are just going to unleash all this. It's going to be a whole new world.
So I just looked up the big beautiful bill while you were talking, and it was passed into law July 4th, 2025. So it's already in existence.
Mhm.
Now I'm just curious what it does.
I wasn't sure, but on a podcast, I'm like, I am not opening my mouth.
Well, I just looked it up. So,
By the way, MicroStrategy, that's Michael Saylor's company. For all you people going, you moron, you don't even know Michael Saylor's company, MicroStrategy.
okay, so the big beautiful bill expands who is subject to SNAP work requirements. It imposes new or increased immigration form filing fees. Obviously, there's a whole bunch more than that, but these are new bills, Clarity Act, Big Beautiful Bill, all
Bit
they're
21.
all part and parcel with each other, all part of the new system, all part of bringing forward the financial system, the reevaluation, everything. So, what are your closing words you'd like to add for everybody to wrap this up?
Puzzle pieces. The puzzle pieces for the last 3 years, they've been going boom, 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 boom. Pretty soon, like that last puzzle piece is going in. Boom, we go. And I'm going to be waiting for you, Mark Z, Frank, Mike Barra, Bruce. I don't watch Bruce, but anybody, I'm just going to be like, all right, it's time to rock and roll. Are we going to go before? Are we going to go during? It's going to take a while. You know, no one knows, and I'm not asking you on the show, but these things have been happening at an absolute lightning pace. Like, can you imagine this happening in the previous administration? All these things after things after things after things. If you love Trump, you're amazed and you watch what's going on and how much is getting done. I know people who hate Trump and they can't stand it and they've given up and talk about the White House. So there's just so much going on.
There is.
Keeping all these countries herded in. Just ignore the news. Wake up the 22nd, 20, wake up over Thanksgiving and look around and see where we're at.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that the RVs happen in that day, but after that, during that, we're live. You know, I know people in banking that can actually see these transactions going on. You know, I'm not allowed to give out any details. It's not a lot of them. It's a couple of them. They're on the new system. You can Google these banks. They've been working with companies like Ripple since 2017, 2018. Closing remarks. Thanks for having me on your show.
Thank you. It's always a
Appreciate it.
pleasure. I
Yeah, you're amazing. I like just going back and forth like this more than covering the slides. It feels dry. So I think I got in all I wanted to say, and I think you're amazing. Just
Thank you.
keep us grounded out there, and keep your smile going, and keep on going on. Pretty soon we're going to be high fiving and celebrating.
Yes, I can't wait. It's been a long journey.
Thanks, Ollie.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.